When you're a kid, you think the universe revolves around you. You think you'll always be protected and cared for. Then one day, you realize that's not true, because when you're alone as a kid, the monsters see you as weaker. Clowns are creepy no matter what, or at least they became so after this movie. We can all agree on that, right? But the dancing clown Pennywise, who torments and tracks down the children of the town, is deeply unsettling. Chapter 1 of it takes place in the town of Derry, and it is set in October 1988. Jaden Lieberher, who plays Bill Denbrough, has to stay inside sick during a rainy day, but Georgie, his little 6-year-old brother, wants to go out and play. So, Bill makes a paper boat for his little brother to play with and floats the boat down the streets of their hometown in Maine. As Georgie went out to play, his boat ended up journeying down the street until it ended up in a storm drain. And this is where it all started. Even if you're not familiar with the movie, I'm more than sure that you've already seen this scene, as it's synonymous with this horror movie. As he attempts to retrieve the boat, he sees a clown in the drain. Pennywise, played by Bill Skarsgård, and I would say that for this movie, all the credit goes to him. It looks like he doesn't appear to be laboring so hard to frighten us at all. "Hi, little Georgie. What a nice boat. Do you want it back? You look like a nice boy. I bet you have a lot of friends." Although Georgie is not sure if he should take stuff from strangers, Pennywise promised that an entire circus is waiting for him in the sewer. And who could say no to that? He is Pennywise the Dancing Clown, after all. Unfortunately, he has just awoken from his most recent 27-year slumber, and he's a bit hungry. As he reaches for his boat before leaving, Georgie gets his arm bitten off, and just a few moments after that, he's dragged into the sewer. Nobody in Derry knows what happened to Georgie. They moved on, assuming that he simply drowned. But not Bill. He was determined to investigate and find out what happened to his little brother. As the school days were finally over, Bill conducted a search for his missing brother. The crew is well known, the Losers Club. The club's original members are Stan Uris, Richie Tozier, and Eddie Kasprak. From that point, the quest is on. Bill's parents are not impressed with the idea, as they want him to move on, but he is convinced that Georgie is still alive and hidden in the Barrens. I would say that the losers were perfectly cast for this movie. Richie is a loudmouth who wears thick glasses, Bill has a stutter, Stan is a weakling, Beverly is rumored at school to be promiscuous, and Eddie is sickly. And if there are losers, there obviously will be another group, the Bullies, with Henry Bowers as the leader of his gang, who appears to have hatred for everyone. One of the kids he is constantly bullying is the overweight Ben Hanscom. Ben is spending his days in the library, learning about the bizarre and dark history of the town. Exactly, Georgie wasn't the first kid to disappear. So, back to the story. As Ben is trying to leave the library, he had an encounter with Bowers and his crew. He is able to kick his way free in the forest. He finally meets the Losers Club, who are on the quest and investigating one of the sewer drains. Ben is hurt, so his friends are taking him back to town to patch him up. In the meantime, Patrick Hochstetter, who is one of the bullies, comes across the same sewer drain and decides to go inside. Wrong decision. The Losers gang is now larger with 2 more members, Beverly and Mike Hanlon. 2 more underdogs, but be careful, as they are 7 now. As they were hanging around together, they were discussing the bizarre incidents they have all faced in the last couple of days. There was only one conclusion. They were being stalked by the same clown. As I mentioned before, Derry has a mysterious and dark history, so every 27 years, an unknown entity rises and kills children. Although this is something that scares them the most, they're determined to investigate the clown, so they found out the way he moves across the sewer system. All the paths are taking them to one place, is one abandoned house that brings fear in the bones. Pennywise is stronger than ever, so as they're looking at the map, he attacks them through the slide projector in Bill's garage. The next step is where the excitement starts. Bill is leading the crew to the abandoned house. Look, you don't have to come in with me, but what happens when another Georgie goes missing, or another Betty, or another Ed Corcoran, or one of us? Are you just going to pretend it didn't happen like everyone else in the town? Because I can't. I go home and all I see is that Georgie isn't there. His clothes, his toys, his stupid stuffed animals. But he isn't. So walking into this house for me, it's easier than walking on my own. And so they go, but they all had to face a different form of Pennywise. After these encounters, the group is sort of separated, so Pennywise uses his supernatural, devious ability to lead kids to their doom, as he knows what frightens them in this precarious state of flux. While the rest of the group flees the house and begins fighting amongst themselves, Beverly and Bill are both committed to fighting the clown. Days are going by, and it felt like we are all expecting Pennywise to attack again. And he strikes. He shows up, kidnaps Beverly, and takes her down the well. The crew reunites again, and this time for another cause, to save their friend. In the meantime, the clown doesn't lose time, and he convinces Bowers to kill his own father. But not only him, he suggests that he should get revenge on everyone else. He made him obsessed with revenge and directed him to the Losers Club. The first on the strike was supposed to be Mike, as he was the only one who didn't climb down. While Bowers attempts to attack him, Mike manages to kick him down the well. The rest of the crew is in Pennywise's lair, where they found decomposing bodies of children floating in the air and a mountain of children's belongings. Beverly is also in the room, floating catatonic. As the group is trying to wake up Beverly, Bill sees his brother Georgie and goes after him. Soon after, he realizes that it is Pennywise in disguise who takes him hostage. "Just leave us be. I'll take him, only him, and I will have my long rest, and you will all live to grow and thrive and lead happy lives until old age takes you back to the weeds," says the creature. But his friends didn't give up. They decided to keep fighting. These are probably the bravest losers that you've ever seen in your life. So Pennywise was eventually defeated, hopefully forever. Well, this is the first chapter, so you can kinda see where this is going. Is that clown really dead? Nobody can ever know. Nobody can ever see him. We can see only what our minds can allow. In the end, realizing the importance of what they've just gone through, and the fact that nobody else could ever be able to relate to them as they connected to each other, Bill suggests the losers make a blood oath. All the crew members have to swear that if Pennywise ever returns to Derry, they will be there to fight and defeat him again. With a small piece of broken glass, he cuts each of their palms. By standing in the circle and holding hands, this scene essentially concludes the movie. With that, the first chapter of the story was shared with the world and eventually became one of the most successful horror movies of all time.